My name is Lyra. I was 12 when I was adopted. My new family was warm and loving. They lived in a small wooden house hidden among pine trees, with a brown roof weathered by age. The square windows glowed gold whenever the sun set. My foster mother was gentle, and my foster father, though quiet, was kind. They had a son 4 years older than me. I'll never forget the first time we met. He smiled softly, ruffled my hair, and said, "Don't be afraid. From now on, I'll always be here." He was true to his word. He taught me how to ride a bike and how to make a kite. And every night, when I was afraid of the dark, he would tap on the wall between our rooms 3 times. It was our secret signal, a way of telling me he was still awake next door. 3 gentle knocks, warm and steady, like a heartbeat pulsing through the wall. He made me feel safe, but that feeling of safety, that perfect world we had, was about to come to a horrifying end. It had been raining all afternoon. The smell of damp wood filled the air, and thunder rumbled in the distance. I remember Daren saying he was going downstairs to make us some hot cocoa. "Don't go out, Lyra," he warned. "The weather's bad tonight." So I stayed in my room, listening to the wind hiss across the roof. But then I smelled something else, something burning. At first, I thought it was just Mum cooking, but the smell grew stronger, and soon thick smoke began to crawl under my door. I threw the door open, and my world turned into a nightmare. Fire was consuming the staircase. The wood crackled and popped, and the red light of the flames danced on the walls like hundreds of malevolent eyes staring back at me. I started coughing, my lungs burning, and screamed for my mum, for Daren, but the only answer was the roar of the fire. And then I saw him. Daren was standing in the kitchen, his back to me. The fire had completely surrounded him, but he didn't move. I screamed his name and ran toward him. "Daren, run." He turned around, his face was smudged with ash, but his eyes, those kind eyes, were still so gentle, still so warm. He didn't say a word. He just pointed toward the small kitchen window, the one I used to climb through to pick apples in the yard. I understood. I ran for it, but when I reached out to grab his hand to pull him with me, my hand went right through him. I froze. My heart felt like it had dropped into an empty void. The fire was already licking at my dress, but I couldn't look away from him. He just smiled sadly and pointed again toward the window, more urgently this time. I cried out, "No, come with me. I won't leave you." The flames roared above us, and the ceiling started to collapse. The last thing I saw was his face fading into the red light before everything went black. I woke up in a hospital, wrapped in bandages. My foster mother was weeping beside my bed. "They found you near the kitchen window," she sobbed. "Your body was soaking wet, like someone had poured water all over you." I didn't understand. The entire house had burned to the ground. Where could the water have possibly come from? As for Daren, they found him downstairs, right where I had seen him standing. The official story was that he died trying to put out the fire, trying to save me. I stayed silent. I didn't tell them what I saw, because I knew the truth. He had saved me one last time, even after he was already gone. After the funeral, we moved into a new apartment in town. I tried my best to live a normal life, but every night as I lay in bed, I heard it. 3 gentle knocks on the wall. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, a phantom echo of my grief, but it happened every single night. 3 knocks, evenly spaced, just like a heartbeat. One night, I gathered my courage and tapped back once Daren. I whispered into the silence. From the other side of the wall came a single, faint knock in reply. It was him. I broke down crying, but they weren't just tears of sadness. I knew he was still there, still keeping his promise. I'll always be here. A month later, Mum suggested I see a therapist. I agreed, even though I knew what I was experiencing wasn't just in my head. I could feel his presence. One night, I had a dream. I was standing in our old house, but it was whole again, completely untouched by the fire. The only sign of what happened was a faint smell of ash in the air. I saw Daren sitting on the porch steps, his white shirt dusted with soot. He smiled. "You're not afraid of fire anymore, are you?" I shook my head gently. "Are you still here?" I asked. He looked out at the dark, moonless sky. "I have to watch over you until you don't need me anymore." I tried to run to him, to hug him, but with every step I took, the distance between us grew wider, as if an invisible wall stood between us. When I woke up, the clock read 3 a.m., and then I heard it. 3 soft knocks on the wall, but this time they were slower, weaker, and then silence. My heart pounded in my chest. Through the night breeze, I caught the faint smell of smoke, and in the reflection of my mirror, I saw a dim red glow flicker for just a moment, and then it was gone. Since that night, the knocking stopped. The apartment felt painfully quiet. I missed him so much. Every time I passed a window, I'd half expect to see Daren standing on the other side, raising his hand, just like he did that night, telling me to go, to be safe. My mum told me I had to let go of the past, but how could I ever forget the boy who saved me with his own soul? One afternoon, I went back to the place where our old house once stood. Only blackened bricks and a half-burned pine tree remained. I laid down a small bouquet of flowers, ready to leave, when I heard the sound of water dripping. I looked around, confused. A faint wet trail led through the ashes to where the kitchen had been, and there, in the center of a charred circle on the ground, was a single, perfect drop of clear water glistening in the sun. I don't know why, but at that moment I felt a sense of lightness, a peace I hadn't felt since the fire. It felt like a final, quiet goodbye. Tonight marks 3 years since the fire. I'm 15 now. My mum and I live in a small apartment on a hill. There are no more knocks, no more dreams. But sometimes, when it rains and the thunder echoes, I catch a faint trace of smoke in the air. I know Daren has found his peace. But I also know that if one night I'm ever afraid again, he'll knock 3 times on my wall. Softly, just enough to let me know he's still keeping his promise. I'll always be here.